How's things?
Oh, are you up for good, dear? I saw Joe Murphy come in. I thought maybe you had another hour ahead of you.
No, he was after Kevin. They're planning one last fishing trip next week.
Ah, is Kevin going to close?
Well, he offered, and I took him up on it. I thought you might not be feeling so hot.
Oh, I don't know what's the matter with me. Oh, I think maybe it's that I'm angry.
Is Siobhan?
No, Siobhan. She's just the icing on the cake. It's Gillian agreeing to marry Seneca and still trying to convince herself that we're going to play a part in Edmund's life. And Francis, letting his own son and the girl that he really loves get away from him. Ugh. And it's probably the fact that none of it is any of my business. Besides that, I can't do anything about it anyway. Come here, please.
Well, you know something, if you ask me, lady, it is your business. It's your son. It's your grandson. It's the girl you felt was a daughter to you.
I don't understand. What in heaven's name makes Gillian think that the man has changed? I mean, he's good to her, Lord knows, but he's still the same man that wants everything his own way. He's been supportive and kind and certainly isn't telling her what to do anymore, but that's not because he's changed, John. It's just that he's very intelligent and he knows that that's what's going to get him what he wants.
May I come in?
Siobhan, I thought you were in bed.
No, I couldn't sleep. I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes, if it's okay.
Darling, your mother's dead tired. Why don't we let her get some sleep and you can talk tomorrow?
No, John, that's all right. Come in, dear. Sit down.
Thank you. I need some help. Firstly, I know that I put you in a terrible position today, and I'm sorry. I understand it could have been a disaster for Frank, and it's nobody's fault but my own.
All right, Siobhan. Let's just let it go now, Francis wasn't hurt, and I'm not hurt either, and we all know that the one who suffered most was yourself.
It wasn't intentional, no matter what Mary said.
Mary never said you did it on purpose.
Well, she says I have a need to make trouble, that it's been my only way of getting attention for so long that I have to have everybody angry with me, and that isn't so.
Well, let's hope, dear, you're right.
I was excited. I was talking fast and trying to make us all sound real and lively as possible. I do have some idea what makes a good interview. And I know how wonderful you are when you're talking about the kids. So when she asked about the grandchildren, that's where my head was. How much they mean to you. And I simply said, Frank has 2 boys, I swear. I didn't even realize I had said that till she said Frank's son's on the air.
Darling, I understand how it could happen perfectly. Now, please, let's leave it alone.
No, I can't. Because I'm not ready to give up yet.
Give up? Oh. How?
On my restoration as Orion.
Please, Siobhan, don't get it into your head that you're being drummed out of the family over this. Mary fired you. She didn't like that any more than you did, but you're out of the campaign, not out of the family. If that's the bee you're getting in your bonnet, please, let's stop it right now.
Mother, for the next month, the Ryans and Frank's campaign are one and the same, and you know that. The whole reason I went to work with Mary at the press office was to be part of that family effort.
And a bad idea it turned out.
Well, now, don't you say I told you so. It's not over yet.
All right, now, please, let's just take it easy, will you, the 2 of you? Now, darling, just take a deep breath and begin again, because I'm not following you.
Look, if there's one thing you beat into our heads, it was that failure isn't the end of the world. As long as you're willing to try again and again and again if necessary. Now, I have failed miserably, and I know that, but I don't want to leave it there. I want back in.
You mean in the press office?
No. That wouldn't be fair to Mary or to me. But even if she would take me back and I die before I asked her, we'd both be too defensive. We couldn't function.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, there has got to be some safe job in a basement somewhere where nobody would notice me. I couldn't even get at a telephone, much less a reporter. And I don't really care what it is, no matter how boring it is. I will put adhesive tape over my mouth. I'll work a night shift. I'll sweep the floors, but I want another chance.
Well, I don't see that that's impossible.
Forgive me, please. But I do.
nurse is gone for the night. The house is locked, and I'm here to see if there's anything you need before you go to sleep.
Stay for a minute.
Sit on the bed?
Sure.
I'm afraid I'll jiggle you and hurt your stitches.
Oh, don't be silly. See, nicely done.
I opened the couch in your father's study. I thought I'd better sleep in there for the next couple of nights. Flying knees and elbows, you know.
But just for a couple of nights, okay?
Okay.
I miss you.
I miss you. Roger seems in excellent spirits.
Yeah, he does.
Yes, he's happy to see you home.
Yeah, I think he is. And too, I think he's sincerely concerned about both of us.
About me?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because you've been so worried about me. Tom, is everything better about Pat?
Why do you ask?
Yeah, come on in.
Hi.
Hey, hi. Where'd you come from?
I just left the office.
You're kidding. At this hour? Have a seat.
Thanks. Ooh, if I hadn't stayed, poor Georgia would have been there all night. Frank needs at least 2 more people in there. Only there isn't room. I guess we'll survive till November.
Sure. Senate office building has space for a few more desks.
Yeah. I was sitting there typing my heart out, thinking about Ethel Green and her little boy in that apartment.
Yeah, I know.
Politics aside, and the help that she could be to Frank aside, I wish there was something we could do for her. People shouldn't have to live like that.
Well, I suppose there's something.
What?
With a little luck, you find out who owns the building and light a fire under him about the condition the place is in.
With a little luck?
You see, especially in the case of absentee landlords, these buildings are owned by holding companies, and it's difficult to pin down one person who's responsible. But if you can find him or her, and if he or she is at all sensitive to pressure, you can do something. At the very least, you can aggravate them an awful lot.
How do you know about absentee landlords?
Now, Frank's first big neighborhood issue, the thing that resulted in his running for city council in the first place, was that row of apartment buildings on 169th Street. It must have taken us, oh, I don't know, 3 days down at the building department going through file after file, but we found out who owned the buildings.
Where's the buildings department?
Downtown. You know, I'll go along and help you look if you like.
I would like.
And we have to be careful, because with the dust and the file folders and the deeds and the numbers and the people stumbling around, mumbling to themselves, you begin to go crazy. Yeah. But the information's there.
Does this make me a community activist?
I think it does.
My father's fondest wish come true. Are you sure you want to give time to this?
Well, yes, but can I tell you why?
For once in your life, girl, I want you to use your head.
I am. And my head tells me that there's got to be in Frank's campaign at least one job I can do without getting into trouble.
For better or worse, Siobhan, you have never been the kind of person that you could put in a corner with a box of envelopes and some campaign literature and not to expect to hear from again. You'd be coming up for air every 10 minutes and you'd be coming up talking.
Well, I can keep my mouth shut for 4 weeks. It's called self-control.
It's called self-interest. You are so wrapped up in what you want and in what you need. You are missing the point of this entirely.
I think we should calm down.
Oh, the hell with it.
No, don't do that, Siobhan. Please, you come back here. Just for once, I want you to understand that your needs and your feelings are not the first consideration here.
When are they?
This is probably the most important effort of Francis's professional life. He has worked desperately hard to get himself here. What it has cost him in a personal way, I don't even want to think about. One single mistake, particularly if it's by a member of the family, could bring the whole thing down around his ears,
Oh,
girl.
believe it or not, Mother, I can understand that perfectly.
Then how can you even think of getting mixed up in the campaign?
Well, in some low-profile way, lady.
Filing, typing, changing a light bulb. Oh, look at her. She thinks I'm going to electrocute the candidate.
No.
Siobhan has never had a low profile, John. She's not going to grow one now.
Come on, Mother. Will you give me a chance?
You've had a chance, girl. You've had 2 chances from what I can understand. And you've made 2 serious mistakes that somehow Francis has survived. Now, he may not survive a 3rd one.
Well, lady, forgive me, sweetheart, but I think you're coming down a little too hard on the child.
What other choice does the girl give me? Siobhan, please. Darling, I do know what you want. I really do. But I believe that you're not going about it in a reasonable way.
But I want to be included. I want to be a part of what's going on around here. What is unreasonable about that?
You have been a part of it, and it didn't work. Can't you, for Francis's sake and the rest of us, pull back now and leave it alone? That would be a real contribution. It would be something that the whole family would be grateful to you for. Indeed.
If it were Mary, you'd give her another chance.
Oh, we're not talking about Mary.
Nope.
Please. Siobhan, don't do that to me. It's most unfair.
What?
Every time we are struggling to work things out, you and I, sooner or later, you bring up the part where I compare you to Mary and I find you wanting. Only I'm not. Here and now, I am saying that you, as an active member of the campaign, is a mistake. It's a matter of record, girl. Do we have to go on and on, repeating our mistakes over and over again?
All right, leaving Mary out of this. If Frank or Pat or Cass came to you asking for help in correcting a mistake, you would move heaven and earth to help them.
I do not believe that either Francis or Kathleen or Patrick would come to me asking for my help and my approval in a situation where they know I couldn't give it.
But Siobhan would. Siobhan would put you on the spot, right? The truth is that you can't leave Mary and the other 3 out of anything that just concerns us. The truth is that I do everything wrong and they do everything right, and I guess it's always been that way and it always will.
That is not true.
I think it is. And I think you were getting pretty sick of things by the time I came along, and I think maybe you and Daddy just should have stopped while you were ahead.
Does she really think that? I feel that way. That I didn't want her? That she was some sort of a mistake?
No, darling. Siobhan knows better than that. She's hurt, she's upset, she's mad at herself more than anything else.
John, was I too hard on her?
Maybe. A little. But come on, sweetheart. Realistically speaking, there's got to be some campaign job she can handle without blowing the lid off things. Unless you happen to think that she's deliberately trying to cause trouble, which I don't. And anyway, it's up to Frank to decide, isn't it?
Well, if she asks Francis, he'll find something for us to do.
Maybe. Maybe not. What she wanted tonight, sweetheart, was a little reassurance.
And I didn't give it to her.
Well, you were honest with her. You told her what you thought. It's always so serious between you and Siobhan.
Because she takes herself so seriously, John. I get swept along with it. And I can't help it. I do compare it to Mary.
Yeah, you do.
But that doesn't mean that I don't love Siobhan for herself and care about her and wish that we got along better.
Well, I think Siobhan knows. I think we all know how close you are to Mary, darling. And it's fair to say, isn't it, that you're closer to Mary than any of the other kids? Maybe because Mary gives you back so much more.
I suppose I'd have to agree with you there, but I've tried, John, not to play favorites.
Well, I'm not accusing you, lady. I'm just saying that there's some basis in truth for what Siobhan is feeling, and
Yes.
you ought to know that.
The thing is that I know Mary. I know her down to her soul. I always know. I know what to expect, what she'll do or say in any given situation. I trust the girl. I mean, I don't always agree with everything she does, heavens knows, but I know that her choices will be brave ones and generous ones. But Siobhan, I never know what that girl's going to do next.
Well, that's Siobhan.
Exactly. And that's why I'm more comfortable with Mary. And we're closer. I can't change that, John. I can't change it any more than Siobhan can become not so unpredictable. But the thing is, I try not to act on it. That's the thing. But I suppose I must have. If Siobhan feels that I've counted her out.
She just wants her mother's approval.
I can't give her approval if I don't feel it. I don't approve. God, where did that come from?
You tell me.
I don't want her making mistakes and coming to me battered and bruised, wishing me for to help and to make it all better, when I can see for a minute that she's done it all herself. And I don't want her judging the relationship between Mary and me and wanting it for herself when she hasn't earned it. It's not an easy thing for me to say, John, but I guess it's honest anyway. I guess that's what it's all about anyway. I don't know.
Siobhan can have your approval if only she'd earn it like Mary. That's it then, huh?
It's so much easier to love someone when you're getting something back. It's a lot easier than when you're not getting anything back.
That's for sure.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just spoiled, John. Mothering is not so difficult. If what you put in, you get back tenfold in all kinds of fine, unexpected, loving ways. But I guess I'm just had too much of that. Wouldn't you think, then? I could make the effort when it wasn't so easy.
No, that's not what I think at all.
No?
No. I think you and Siobhan are good for each other in spite of everything. And I think you are a bone-weary lady. And after a good night's sleep, Siobhan will be a better daughter, you'll be a better mother, and Frank will decide what the hell to do with Siobhan in this campaign business.
John Ryan, I do love you.
Well, likewise, I'm sure.
I feel so badly for her.
Oh, Maeve.
But she's not finished, John, I tell you. There's going to be more trouble. I know it.
It's been a long, long time since I've been involved in much of anything besides myself and what goes on in this hospital.
You haven't had the time.
I've had some time, and there's more now than there has been. But I've let myself become more and more isolated from my family and my friends, from the neighborhood, from life in general.
That's interesting. I've never thought of you as isolated or self-involved.
Oh, well, take it from me, I have been. I don't like it. I need to make some changes. But I think this whole thing began with Delia. She took more time, energy, and dedication than I had to give. I couldn't stay in touch with her and the rest of the world simultaneously.
You were involved with the strike.
Yeah, that should have been some help, but I got too tired and was in such bad physical shape that, well, and after that was over,
There was faith.
there was faith.
I was wondering what brought Pat to mind, that's all.
The reason I brought it up is that Roger asked me if you weren't feeling a little easier about Pat and me and all of that. And I said you were. I just hope that's true.
Of course it's true. May I make a suggestion?
Certainly.
Since you're 2/3 of the way asleep, why don't you give up and go the rest of the way? We can talk in the morning.
Okay, but will you stay with me for a while?
Of course.
Night.
Good night.
Love you.
She's pretending, you know. How can she say those things when she doesn't mean them? She's a liar, Thomas.
Not really.
She is. She's wicked.
No.
She is wicked. And she deserves to be punished.
Hi, I'm Tori Spelling, and I want you to spend the weekend with me, in bed, for breakfast in bed on SoapNet.
Catch One Tree Hill and Beverly Hills 90210, 7 to 2 every weekend morning, only on SoapNet.